everyone, Effie here. Today I'm going to make this card using our new Dahlia garden background stamp. I'll be doing some rose gold heat embossing, so I prepped my watercolor paper first with some anti-static powder. Then I inked up my stamp with some sticky Versamark embossing ink, and then I applied my watercolor paper panel right onto my stamp, and I used my Speedball Baren tool to help me get a nice, even, crisp impression. This tool allows me to put some firm and even pressure all over the surface of the stamp. Next, I hit the whole panel with my heat tool to melt all that gorgeous rose gold embossing powder. Some watercoloring today. I'm using actual watercolor paper. My go-to is my Canson XL 140-pound paper. For my paints, I'm using Color Burst. I'm using a variety of warm shades for my dahlias. All the shades that I've used in this video will pop up on the screen as I use them. So here I'm using my Peony Color Burst, and you saw the title pop up earlier. I'll be using an additional color to add some shading to this dahlia, and as you can see, I used the Rouge, and I'll just be adding the title for each color as I go along because I use a variety of colors. Honestly, when I usually paint some watercolor florals for my cards, I never plan out the colors or the actual colors that I'm going to use. But I generally know if I want to go with a warm or cool palette. So for this card, I'm definitely going for a warm palette. All of my dahlias are nice, bright pink, red, and later I'll be adding some orange and yellow dahlias. So I'll be doing some wet on wet watercoloring today. I didn't mention it earlier, but before I applied any paint, I sprayed my panel down with some clean water, and then I took a clean aqua brush and I kind of just smoothed that water over the paper, kind of just really getting the water into the paper so that it'll soak up my pigment really nicely. And I like to use this watercoloring technique because I get a really nice blend with my watercolors. And I really like using my Color Burst powders with this Canson watercolor paper because they do go very nicely together. My Color Burst blend really well on this paper. I know that a lot of people like the Bristol watercolor paper. I'm sure it's better quality. It is a little bit more expensive than the Canson XL, but I have had no issues really with the Canson. It's inexpensive. You get more bang for your buck with that pad, and I find that my Color Burst blend really well on this paper. And why spend more money if you don't have to? However, I will say that when I do use this watercolor paper with my Dr. P.H. Martin's Radiant liquid watercolors, those watercolors don't blend as well on this paper. So you may want to go with a better quality paper if you're using those watercolors, but I find that I reach for my Color Burst more often, and this system works really, really great for me. So after I finish painting my entire panel, I'm going to set it aside to dry completely, and then I'm going to take the largest die from our double stitch rectangles small collection. These are the in-between die rectangle sizes that coordinate with our large rectangles double stitch set. So I just die cut the panel using the largest die from the small collection, and this is going to allow me to leave a nice border for whatever base I mount this on, and I'm going to use a black card base today. Next, I'm going to mount that watercolored panel onto my card base, and for my adhesive, I'm using our double-sided adhesive sheets. This is really strong adhesive that I usually use with my watercolor papers. And the last step is to add the sentiment. For my sentiment, I used our congratulations stamp from our basic label set. This is a really nice standard set to have in your stash because these labels kind of go with anything and everything. So I stamped it with our Noir dye ink, fussy cut it, and popped it onto my panel. And my card is now complete. I hope you all enjoyed today's card and video. As always, thanks for stopping by and watching.